Hey, everybody, Brian Snow here, and decided to keep the name of the show the way it is, even though you see something else at the top of your screen. But I'm going to keep the show with the same title and just going to build the daylights out of it. As you notice, we are on the YouTube channel of the Brian Snow Show only because I'm very confident we can build this up. Jason Pike, right now. The thing is, until you can erase 3 Februaries, shut up.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
I leave this guy alone for a few minutes, and what happens? Another book comes out. One of my dearest friends, Jason Pike, is back with us on the program. How are you, my friend? Great to have you back.
Yeah, it's great to be back, Brian. I know that last show went really well, so I wanted to call you up and do it again.
It's great, man. We had such a great conversation last time. A lot of people tuned into it, hoping they do the same here. All right, what's your newest creation? Let's hear it.
31 years in the Army, I have a lot of experiences. And so my third book, actually, I've got 2 more books, but I did a book for the veterans and a veteran self-help guide back into civilian life. And it's just a self-help guide for veterans. That's the second book. The third book I've got out is what I think a lot of viewers will be interested in. It's called Leading Through the Crossfire. What to do in a wicked workplace. If your workplace is just causing you hell, it doesn't matter if you're in the military or the police force or anything. A lot of people get sick from work because of a toxic environment. And this is what I spoke about, not only with my life, but a lot of other people's lives that are in here and what to do about it. Yeah.
What inspired you to do that particular book?
Everybody like you on these podcasts were asking me about my worst experiences of 31 years in the military. And it wasn't war. It wasn't getting shot at. It was actually a toxic work environment. And I had to explain the worst situations. And that was it, really. And I wasn't being shot at other than my bosses and things, but, the toxic environment. And so I thought that might be a place to go to gain some perspective on what the hell's going on sometimes with these people.
I have been in so many toxic environments, especially the last 28 years being a sportscaster, where you have 1 foot in the door and 1 foot out the door. And sometimes I don't know what to do to wade through a negative, very toxic situation. Had that while covering the Chicago Bulls through my company for a couple of years. What can someone do? And I will put myself right in the middle of the crossfire for this question. What can someone do that has someone else basically cyber stalking you and cyber stalking, insulting you and your family? Now, before anyone asks, the reason I am putting myself out there is because there are a lot of people that do not believe I'm going through what I'm going through, having the people just cyber stalk me, send me a horrible message, talk horribly about my wife. And y'all know how I am when it comes to my family. My wife doesn't call me her dragon for nothing. So what can I do to wade through that just in case he or a couple of others, including an ex, decide to pop up?
Well, the short answer, the easy answer, and I think the best answer is you need to get the hell out of there. You need to transfer, find another position. If you're in a federal force or workforce, try to transfer. If you're not, if you're a sportscaster, go somewhere else. That's the best thing to do, not to challenge them. Now, if you want to challenge these people, you need to have a lot of documentations on your side over a period of time. And hopefully you've got another coworker or 2 that will side with you. And maybe you have a quality control person or a system in there or a chaplain or somebody who's a trusted official that you can put it to. But even if you do that, you've got to have your ducks in order, and you better understand these people will probably come after you. If not now, they'll find out who you are. They'll come after you later. You're dealing with a narcissist. You're dealing with a different person who's toxic. It's more than an asshole. It's more than just someone who's just it's somebody who's on a different scale than you. That's why I'm saying you probably need to find another way out. Kind of walk out slowly, lightly, and never say anything anymore. But yeah, those are the two big answers for that. Yeah,
absolutely. I needed that, and so many people have told me that, and logically I know that's the answer, but emotionally I don't know that's the answer, because when it hits me, especially when he speaks ill of my family, I turn into daddy. Okay, I go from being sportscaster to being husband and daddy, and daddy don't play that shit.
Yeah, and that's hard. You're fighting your emotions. So I was under suspicion of subversion and espionage against the U.S. government, which was totally false. Before that, I was under pedophile charges, which was
oh my god,
they will make this shit up about you. They will do things, and I mean, I know it's like you want to challenge them, you want to fight them, and all that stuff, and that's what's so hard about it. How can I write the details? Who, what, when, where, and why? How can I get you're in such an emotional state that that's why I wrote the book, and I have lessons learned from just trying to keep yourself calm and seek mental health, seek anything other than the retribution that's in your bones that you want to do. And trust me, I've been there. I think you've been there too. But I want to write that. Look, there's a lot of people in these places that don't know what to do because you're caught off guard and you've never had this type of thing happen to you. They're the experts. They've probably done it to a few other people, and they sort of know how to play you more than you can play them. Yeah.
You know, let me tell you what this sumbitch did to me. I was with Marquette Catholic up in Michigan City, Indiana, and I was broadcasting their games. We were going on 3 years. The year is 2016. I hadn't heard from him. He said nothing to me. I just finished the girls' basketball season, and now getting ready to finish the boys' basketball season as the state tournament was going on. So I was busy. And at the time, we were also planning baseball coverage. And I kept saying, bring it on. I love it. And then on March 4th, 2016, I get a phone call from the athletic director. And he said, I can't have you call games for us anymore. I sat in horror as he told me that someone made a phone call to the IHSAA and told them that I was inappropriately touching 2 female students.
Yeah. They make stuff up. They will do it. See, they're experts at this stuff. And I was, first of all, it was a rumor about me being a pedophile, which went away. After that went away, then I went on formal charges of espionage against the U.S. government, and that eventually went away. It was really hard. I had criminal investigation division involved. I had the military intelligence involved, and everybody's talked bad about you. That's just one thing. But what if it goes to an official federal level and they make shit up? They know how to play the game of creating rumors or working with the system. It could be a federal police officers or what have you, to say this person's throw them under the bus or gaslight them to get them, so it's a very difficult time, but you're not alone. And a lot of people are not alone. They feel they're alone and you don't want to talk to anyone about all these things. It's one of those things that you're blindsided. It's a sucker punch. And that was worse. I went to Afghanistan, but I was trained for that. I wasn't trained to be thrown under the bus. So, yeah.
Oh, and I hated that. And this sumbitch called me and left a voicemail the next day. And he was just taunting me, saying how that investigation go. What made me smile in the midst of all that is all the players and all the kids at Marquette Catholic stood by my side. The administration wouldn't hire me back because, unfortunately, the athletic director, my good friend Tony Midas at the time, was outnumbered. So not even everybody in the school, the parents also standing by me, that couldn't convince them they took no chances, and all the parents were saying, if you need to be suspended for a couple of days, yeah, but at least you have to have a chance to do the game because you're contracted and you're honor bound to do that game. The coolest thing is when the players found out the championship game in the championship game in the sectionals occurred on a Saturday. That Friday, I got so many messages from the guys on the team and the coach, and they were just saying, "We miss you. We'll do everything possible to get you back." And Sarah Langston, a dear friend, had all the parents have snowman stickers, which is my nickname, on the side of their face, and they sent me pictures of it. Man, that picked me up more than anything else. And I said, aha, see, I got them on my side. What do you have, asshole?
Yeah.
And I just stayed silent and stayed back.
Yeah. My federal investigation just went away. I went off to Afghanistan. I come back as a hero, a Bronze Star. That was kind of my revenge, was doing well in combat after that investigation. And hey, and everything, they just just went away. But these people get to their position a lot of times by kissing up and kicking down. So especially if you've got a hierarchy. And so the people that filter up, not all of them, maybe only 20%, are kind of psychopathic, sociopathic, narcissistic people, and they only care about themselves and their jobs and going upward the ladder. So a lot of people want to ask, how do I know I'm getting involved in this? And unless you got somebody on the inside to tell you that you might be getting involved, you can see, I go through the various characteristics of some of these supervisors or these toxic people that you might get around. Probably need to find a way to get another job. Or, when you get hired into a position, you can maybe ask some other people, how's it like, and things of that nature to get a feeling of it. But you definitely, if you get into it, I think you need to somehow transfer or get out. And if you're going to fight it, you better have your ducks in order, because they're going to find out who you are, and they might not get you now, but they will get you later, probably.
Absolutely. Yeah. What are some of the main characteristics that you identified? Because I know so many people that work in a toxic environment, and they have spoken to me and they're like, get me out of here. Yeah. I'm in a toxic environment myself. What are some of the characteristics, the main characteristics that you identified with supervisors that are narcissists and will do everything to bring you down instead of lift you up?
Yeah, they have no empathy. You can tell it exudes. They have no empathy for you or for the organization. They're kind of a narcissistic personality disorder where all they care about is themselves and moving up the ladder or whatever. Right. Or maybe more publications on papers. Maybe it might be whatever. I need more of this. I need more of that. Only thing for them to succeed and go up. And they may be belittling. They might have a bully characteristic of belittling, and if it's making you feel sick, and you can see, and it may affect other people, but they may be handling it different ways. And so those are some of the characteristics that you can take a look at: screaming and yelling, and being angry, or being or just being vacant, or just not even being around and not caring at all about anything. Those are some of the things.
Yeah. And they talk bad about you a lot to other people. They don't have the guts or the balls to say it. Let me say the way Stone Cold said it. If they ain't got the damn guts, or better yet, they ain't got the balls to say it in your face, to dispute in your face. So they say it behind your back to so many other people, and he tries to get them on his side to the point where people will come up to you asking questions. And once you dispel those rumors, they know who to believe. The same guy that made that horrible rumor about me and made a phone call to the IHSAA, and that organization was so sweet to me because I had just paid my broadcast fees. I called them that Friday and I was in tears, and they recognized who I am. And they said, yes, we have to take this seriously, and I'll refund your payment, but I am hoping that you're back by regionals so we can have you on our broadcast list again. Those people were so wonderful to me. hoping I'd come back. I was also, but never got the chance to come back. In 2013, in dealing with this guy, I came home from Indianapolis, and I lived in Chicago. I was living in Indianapolis at the time, and went home to Chicago to cover a Bulls game because I had the opportunity. I saw the gentleman, and I use that term very, very loosely, that was talking shit about me. I fought every instinct to fly in there and clothesline his ass. And
Yeah.
I just kept thinking, if I do that, I don't get back to Indianapolis.
Yep. I've been
And
there.
it was late. And I said, I better hop a bus and head to the bus station right now. Because if I stay here a second longer, there will be a fight, there will be a mess, and I will be in handcuffs.
Yeah.
And
Hard.
how did you
It's hard to take the high road, and that's what you got to do. You got to take the high road. How I handle it, I went to mental health. I went to a chaplain. I drank a lot of liquor and drank a lot of beer, got drunk a lot, and it went on for 2 years. And I was in paranoia for a long time. That's where my post-traumatic stress, everybody thinks it was Afghanistan, but it wasn't. It was before it was in a peacetime garrison environment. And that's where the post-traumatic stuff came out of me. And that's how I handled it at the time. And then once I got out, I says, I'm going to do what the snowman is going to do. I'm going to go beat their ass after retirement, after I can get that free paycheck, after I get my paycheck from the Army.
right?
Right. And then I had to I went through counselor. They talked me out of it, and they said, don't do it. You're going to get in more trouble. And so it was so hard. It was so damn hard. That's so hard. The easy way route. I mean, it's whatever is a hard thing to do. That's usually the right thing to do. And then taking the high road can be hard, and that's usually the right thing to do. And that's how I handled that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the way I had to handle that. I mean, just sitting there and watching him, and he just feels so cozy because he's talking to the Bulls coach at the time, Tom Thibodeau, and interviewing a couple of other players. And I'm thinking in my mind, I already had my interview with Coach Thibodeau, and it was one-on-one. What do you have? But it was the hardest thing to take the high road. And I'll give you another situation. I've spoken of this only a few times. I will reveal it here. I was in a domestic abusive relationship in 2015. It was physical, it was mental, and it was financial. It was financial. I was not equipped to deal with any of that at all, especially when she would just, at the drop of a hat, start yelling at me and swearing at me and telling me you're doing everything wrong. And I could not do anything because I didn't recognize what was going on. And this is especially for the men. And I want the men to truly listen. How do men handle a situation, very emotional situation like that? Because it happens more to men than people realize, but the men are so damn afraid that they're going to wind up in handcuffs that they don't come forward. I did. I risked it. I risked it. I took the chance and went to the LaPorte police in LaPorte, Indiana, and they laughed in my face.
Oh.
So what do men have to do when they're within the midst of that, since we're talking about narcissists?
I would say document the hell out. I know it's hard to document it. And the details don't lie in situations like you were in. Who, what, when, where, and why. And over a period of time, somewhere, somehow, maybe in a non-emergency line police report, put it somewhere, give it to something. It could be social services, maybe try a different police chief or a different police officer, but document the hell out of everything just in case something happens to you or might happen to you. You'll have a history, the details, videos, photographs, anything for documentation. And it's hard to do it when you're in hell because you're thinking of survival, but that's kind of what you got to do.
Yeah. Survival was my main goal. And getting out was my other main goal. And I think what finally snapped it was when I got woken up with a phone call saying, come get your shit or I'm calling the cops. So I had to drive an hour and a half from Glenview, Illinois to LaPorte, Indiana early in the morning. And I specifically parked across the street because I know if I parked in front of the house, it was going to be a war.
Mm.
And men, I know for a fact, the men that have been in this situation but can't come forward about it have had these words said to them. When she was putting my stuff in the trunk, she said, I hope you know why I'm doing this. Boy, you talking about quelling a fire.
Mm. Yeah, I've never been in that situation at all. Nothing like that with the domestic stuff. Can't talk to that, but I'm thinking you need to do something. You need to get the hell out of there, document paper. I know the guys don't want to write stuff down, but even if it's just on broken handwriting, anything you can get down, dates, times, who, what, when, where, and why, to get the story out to somebody who can help you. So, because you're emotional. When you're emotional and you're trying to say these things, you're jibber jabbers. Somehow you need to stand back and get the details out to give them something. Yeah.
It was so hard for me to document everything, but I did, and I had it at the ready just in case. Man, this is going to be the first of two parts of this conversation with Jason Pike, because I will have him back, and I'll have him back very, very soon. We're just coming up on time here, but Jason, when I bring you back, I'm going to clear a lot more time so we can just go over everything, and let's help the men out.
I've got all kind of stories, as you know. So yeah.
I appreciate you, Jason. Thank you.
Okay,
I love you. We'll talk soon.
Love you, Brian. Take care.
This is part 1 of 2 that I'll have with Jason. But I will say this. When I do the second part, y'all better be Patreon members of Snowman Multimedia, because I'm only going to put 15 minutes out. And this next interview that I do with Jason, and we're going to do it next week, is probably going to be over the course of an hour and a half. If you want the full interview, you have to become a Patreon member. Go to patreon.com/snowman multimedia. That's patreon.com/snowman multimedia.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.